Hi everyone, welcome to our channel LoveUrCode. If you're watching our video for the first time, then do subscribe to our channel to get the further updates. So let me start this video by a very quick intro about our channel. So we have made an initiative to teach programming languages to those who are actually willing to learn coding from the scratch. From today, we are going to come up with new videos every week, so please stay tuned. Now let's get started. In today's session, we will be learning Python. So these are the topics that we are going to cover in our first session. Now getting back to what actually is this Python. Python is nothing but a programming language that is used to create web applications on a server. Python can be used to perform highly complex mathematical operations and also plays a vital role in handling big data. Now talking about why Python. The first advantage would be that it works in different platforms like your Windows, Macs, Linux, etc. Python follows a very simple syntax when compared to other programming languages, hence the number of lines required to write a piece of code is going to be very few. Python runs on an interpreter system. Interpreter is nothing but a program that converts a source code that is written in a high-level language to a binary code that a system can understand. Normally, a program is written in a format which is readable by human, but machine do not understand this. They only understand zeros and ones, and this is where an interpreter plays a role. Moreover, Python can be treated in a procedural way, an object-oriented way, or a functional way. Now, let's see what are the built-in data types available in Python. At first, we have the string data type that stores text value. Then we have int, float, and complex data types that hold numeric values. And at last, we have the Boolean data type that holds the value true or false. We also have list, tuple, dictionary data type that would be discussed in the upcoming session. Now that we have seen what data types can be used in Python, it's time to see where we store these data. This is when variables come into picture. They act as a container to store our values. In Python, there is no need for us to mention the type of data before the variable, which means when we declare variable in other languages like C, C++, or Java, it is mandatory for us to specify the data type before the variable name. But Python makes it simpler for us in declaring and defining a variable. And remember, you can always change the data type even after they have been set. There are few rules when it comes to naming a variable. A variable must always start with alphabet or the underscore character. A variable cannot start with a number and it can contain only alphanumeric characters and the underscore character. Variables are case sensitive, that is, capital X and small x would be treated as two different variables in Python. Now let us discuss few examples. So I'm using the W3 Schools editor to run my code. So here I have declared three variables A, B, C and have assigned the value 10, LoveUrCode and 5.7 respectively. So I have used the command. Normally we describe a command using the hash symbol. So our Python would treat anything after the hash as a command and it would not execute that particular text. So I have used the hash symbol to define the type of the variable I have used, and then I have tried to print all the values of the variables. And let's try running this code and see what output do we get. And yes, it works fine. So now what if you want to print the type of the data rather than the value of the data? So you can do that with the help of a type method. So let's see how do we write a code for that. So yeah, instead of writing print an A, I have written a method called type of A, which would fetch me the type A holds. So on running this code, the output would look something like this. As I have assigned an integer value to A, it shows that the data type of A is int, and similarly for B it shows string, and for C it shows float. Now let's try naming a variable which starts with a number. And let's see if Python supports that. Let me say I'm taking my variable name to be toName. So what do you think? Would Python execute this? No, Python would definitely throw an error. It is because we cannot start a variable name with a number. So I'm trying to erase this and then simply print the variable. Now our code would run absolutely fine. Now let's see if Python is actually case sensitive. So let me declare a variable x and assign it a value 10, and then declare a variable capital X and assign it a value 20, and then I'm trying to print the variable small x and then the variable capital X. So when you execute this, then you will get the output as 10 and 20 because Python would treat small x and capital X as two different variables. Yes, and this is the expected output. And what if I go and change this capital X to small x and then try to print the x value? What do you think? The value of x would be 10 or 20? The value is 20. It is because the value of x would be updated to the most recent definition. Now, what if you want to name your variable as my first name or my middle name or my last name? Is it a good idea to specify it something like this? My first name is equal to love and then trying to print my first name? No, Python would definitely throw an error because Python doesn't encourage the space in between the variables. So in this case, we can simply go with Pascal casing, camel casing, or the snake casing. So this is how you will have to define a variable. You can either type an underscore in between the words, and this would be the snake casing, and then try running the code. Yes, our code works. Now, what if you want to combine the data of your variables? You can simply do that with the help of a plus operator. So when you use a plus operator within your print symbol, it simply concatenates the results of both the variables. So on running this code, so this would be our expected output. So what if in case the variable holds an integer value rather than the string value? Would this plus operator still perform concatenation? No. When you use a plus symbol in between the variables that hold an integer data, then it would simply act as an addition operator. Now, what if you are trying to combine your string data and your numeric data? Will Python be able to run this code? No, we would get an error. And in order to rectify this, we have a method called format. So let's see how we use that method. Say for example, I am expecting an output to be I am 23. So here I want to display my age. So simply put a curly brace and then you can use text.format, and inside the parenthesis you can simply give your age. And now when running this script, we are able to combine our string data with our numeric data. Now we are into our final topic, casting. So there may be times when you actually want to specify a data type to your variable. So this can be done with the help of casting. You can assign a type with the use of constructor. Constructor again is a different topic that we would be covering in our upcoming session. So we have the int, float, string and boolean constructor to define a type to a variable. So let's understand this with the help of example. Let's say we have a variable x and I have assigned a value 0, and then I have a variable called y and I need y to store the boolean value of x. So this can be achieved by using the bool constructor, and you can simply pass the x variable and then try to print both x and y. On running this code, our output would be 0 and false because the Boolean value of 0 is false. So yes, this is the output we receive. So similarly, you can use other constructors to define your data type to a variable. And yes, we have reached the end of our session. And we are planning to make our videos in regional languages like Tamil and Odia. So please do drop your suggestion in the comment box so that we can prioritize and start working on it. And yes, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.